Hello guys. Today's video will be about Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. This book has touched the lives of millions of people and is one of the most well-known success books, if not the most well-known. There are literally thousands of success books out there, so why should this one be different? Well, Stephen studied the last 200 years of success literature and discovered something interesting. In the last 50 years, most books have focused on the ethics of personality. Things like public image, how you dress, how you behave in social interactions, positive mental attitude, skills and techniques to make people behave in certain ways. These books focus on how to appear rather than how to truly be. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People takes an inside-out approach. It focuses on the ethics of character rather than the ethics of personality. In Stephen Covey's words, almost all literature from the first 150 years or so focused on what we could call the ethics of character as the foundation for success, such as integrity, humility, temperance, courage and justice, patience, industry, simplicity, modesty, and the golden rule. The ethics of character taught that there are fundamental principles for an effective life, and people can experience true success and lasting happiness only when they learn and integrate these principles into their basic character. Greatness starts from within. Of course, there is room for the ethics of personality, but character forms the foundation. The ethics of personality can be considered as a facade or fake until you make it. If it is not rooted in character, sometimes people apply these personality techniques to use and manipulate others to achieve their own goals and agendas. In the long run, people will eventually see through this duplicity, but you cannot fake character ethics. If you are still a little confused about this concept, imagine an iceberg. Personality ethics are above the water, while character ethics are below the water. It forms a foundation. It is where the greatest long-term impact occurs, where you sow the seeds of greatness. The problem is that people do not focus on the foundation, they focus on appearance. They seek shortcuts and quick solutions, but there are no shortcuts. There is no quick fix program. But if you adopt and apply the following habits, you will absolutely achieve your goals and they will help you develop better relationships. It was a long but necessary introduction to understand the principles on which this book is based, so let's move on to the 7 habits. The first habit is, be proactive. Let's look at something called the circle of concern and the circle of influence. The circle of concern includes all the things that are beyond your control, like the weather, politics, what people think of you, the economy, other people's mistakes, and other people's opinions. The circle of influence includes all the things that you can control, your attitude, what you read, the skills you learn, your enthusiasm, how you spend your free time and with whom, your habits and hobbies, and so on. That being said, there are 2 ways to live life. You can be reactive or proactive. Reactive people complain about things that are beyond their control. The environment and external forces influence their performance and mood. Additionally, they do not take action or take responsibility for the things they can control. Then there is the other type of person, the proactive one. This type of person realizes that their decisions determine their life, not the conditions. Proactive people do not complain about things they cannot control. Furthermore, they take action to improve the things they can control. Proactive people understand that sometimes we may not have complete control over a particular situation, but we can control how we respond to a situation. So, let's see an example of how a proactive person and a reactive person respond to the same situation. 2 people take an exam, and both fail. One blames the professor and gives up, while the other takes responsibility and studies harder to improve. The reactive person complains about how bad the professor is, while the proactive person asks, "What can I do?" They look within themselves instead of blaming and complaining. Do not focus on what you cannot control, but focus on what you can control. Take responsibility and remember that by becoming more proactive within your circle of influence, it grows. You bring more power into your life. Even if you implement only one of the 7 habits, make it this one. On its own, it can have a tremendous impact on your life. In life, either you act or you are acted upon. The second habit is, begin with the end in mind. All things are created twice. The first time is in your mind, and the second time is in the real world. So, let's see how it is created in the mind before it becomes a reality. To reach where you want to be in life, you need to have a map. You need to determine your life goals, your destination, and you also need a plan on how to get there. Otherwise, you are just wandering aimlessly through life. So, where do you want to end up in life? Have you sat down and clearly defined the kind of life you want? Do you know where you want to be in 5, 10, or 15 years? If not, then you are wandering aimlessly, at the service of everyone else. Let me explain it another way. Imagine your life as a ladder that you are climbing, working hard, doing the right things, and making progress month after month, year after year. Then, as you get closer to the top of the ladder, you suddenly realize that your ladder was leaning against the wrong wall all along. Many people live their lives this way. They do not have a vision for their life. They do not have what Stephen calls a personal mission statement. You need to make a conscious effort to understand where you want to end up. Otherwise, you will be controlled by others and where you end up going. That's why this habit is so important. You need to establish your destination first and then work towards it. If you are not very clear about your purpose, think about the end of your life. How do you want to be remembered? Why do you want to be remembered? Find your purpose and make sure it has a strong motivation behind it. Not something like having lots of money, but something that you have a true passion for. You are not here to make money, buy things, and then die. You have something to offer the world. You can add value. So, find out what it is, and don't ask what life has to offer. Ask what you can offer to life. Take the time to think about your purpose, think about your values, and write them down. Your personal mission statement can be as simple as Will Smith's, "I want the world to be better because I was here." Very simple. And what you do is keep that mission statement in your mind, and every time you make a decision, see if it aligns with that mission statement. This will keep you on track. Be bold, create your ideal life and your legacy. It can be whatever you want, dream big and do not hold back. Most of the time, what holds us back is ourselves, so do not let doubt get in your way. Realize that anything is possible. So, define how you want your life to be now. Do not let the past or anything else hold you back. You write the script of your life, no one else. You are the programmer. The third habit is, put first things first. If habit 2 says that you are the programmer, habit 3 is about writing the program. This is the second creation. As you learned in habit 2, all things are created twice, first in the mind and then in reality. Habit 3, putting first things first, is about taking the necessary steps and actions to make your vision a reality. Here, we start looking at our daily routines and habits. Ask yourself, what is the most important thing for you right now? It's probably your partner, finishing your studies, improving your health, or your family. It's not scrolling through Facebook or Instagram, right? So why do we spend so much time doing these pointless things? We need to get in the habit of putting first things first, taking the time to focus on what truly matters and directing our efforts towards what will take us where we want to go in life. Start questioning the patterns and habits in your life. We've all fallen into the vicious cycle of waking up late, eating poorly, rushing to work, facing traffic in a state of stress, being disorganized at work and being pulled in 1,000 different directions, then coming home, eating junk food because we're tired, and staying up late because we watched some TV show. And then we wake up late the next day to repeat it all over again. This is the perfect example of not putting first things first. We can all relate to the time management department, right? And we all have so much to do, so how do we manage time effectively? We usually write everything on a huge to-do list and tend to follow the order from top to bottom without real prioritization. This is not the correct way, or you schedule things on a calendar, which is a decent practice, but with just one interruption, our whole game can be thrown off. You might also try priority-based daily planning, but again, one interruption or emergency can disrupt it all. Most of us fall into this time management pattern, but there is another way. The best way is to categorize things by urgency and importance. Stephen developed a 4-quadrant table for this, and you need to categorize items into the following quadrants. The first one is urgent and important, which means putting out fires, emergencies, and a reactive mindset. The second quadrant is not urgent but important, and it's about your health, exercise, spending time with family, relationships. This is where we need to pay more attention because these activities are often neglected, and this is where success, balance, and growth lie. The activities in the third quadrant are not important but urgent, so most of us spend time here, with interruptions, meetings, phone calls, and other people's emergencies. Finally, Quadrant 4 is things that are neither important nor urgent. They are time wasters, like busy work, some emails, phone calls, and so on. Remember the example from earlier of the reactive and disorganized person? Now, look at an example of someone who puts first things first. Joe wakes up early, exercises for 30 minutes, has a healthy breakfast, leaves early for work, and has a pleasant and peaceful commute. Then Joe works on the important but not urgent things in Quadrant 2 and handles emergencies if necessary, delegates tasks from Quadrant 3, and rejects tasks from Quadrant 4. Joe takes a nice relaxing lunch break and thinks about the rest of the day, plans his evening. At the end of the workday, he wraps up tasks and plans things for the next day. He gets home, prepares a healthy meal, and maybe reads before going to bed. It seems like he has more time to think and reflect on his life, makes plans on where he wants to get and who he wants to be. Basically, he does what we did in Habit 2, beginning with the end in mind. If you look at these two different examples, there is a stark difference, right? No one on their deathbed wishes they had spent more time at work or checked Facebook more often, right? So, again, focus on what is important to you and make it a priority. Commit to it. Now, the first 3 habits, being proactive, beginning with the end in mind, and putting first things first, serve to move you from a state of dependence to independence. It's about mastering yourself. They help you become more effective as an individual by developing inner strength, character, purpose, and values. The next 3 habits, which I will cover in the next video, will move you from independence to interdependence. Interdependence is the highest level of what Stephen Covey calls the maturity continuum. The maturity continuum consists of 3 levels: dependence, independence, and interdependence. Dependence is like the relationship between a child and a mother, or sometimes between a boss and an employee if the employee doesn't have their own inner strength, values, and purpose. The attitude to move from dependence to independence is, I can do it myself. Most people think that independence is the highest level, but in reality, interdependence is the highest level. Interdependence is where you think as a team, as a family, as a marriage. It's a team mentality. We achieve together what we want. It's the attitude of we. We can combine our talents and abilities to create something even better. Habits 4 to 7 will help you relate to people, understand their needs, empathize, and cooperate. And remember, you have to move from dependence to independence before you can truly become interdependent. Habits 4 to 7 will help you relate to people, understand their needs, empathize, and cooperate. And remember, you have to move from dependence to independence before you can truly become interdependent. The second part will be available in the coming days. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please don't forget to like and subscribe.